I didn't think much of it at first. The idea that something might be off didn't hit me like a lightning bolt. It crept in slowly, like the kind of cold you don't notice until your whole body's shivering. It started with the calendar. She'd recently started therapy, twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays at 5:30 p.m. That's what she told me. I supported her without hesitation, even encouraged her. "Do what you need to feel better," I said. "I'll cover dinner. Take your time." For the first few weeks, she'd come home a little quiet but calm. Said her therapist was helping her explore some past issues, whatever that meant. I didn't press. I thought therapy was personal. Boundaries, right? But then her sessions started running longer. One Friday, she didn't get home until almost 9 o'clock. She claimed her therapist was running late, and they got deep into some things. Still, something in her voice didn't sit right. Her tone was practiced, too even. And then the weird stuff began. She started dressing differently on therapy days. I don't mean dramatically, just more effort. Mascara, hair straightened. One time, perfume. "I just want to feel good about myself," she said when I asked. "Okay, fair." But then I checked the shared calendar we kept for syncing our schedules, one I made, ironically, to help her feel less anxious. And there it was, Friday, 5:30 p.m., therapy. But I clicked the event out of habit, thinking I had to shift something on my own calendar, and saw the address. It wasn't the clinic she'd given me weeks earlier. I stared at it for a long time. It was a residential street across town, not a medical plaza, not even an office building, just a house. That was the moment the cold reached my chest. Still, I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I opened a new tab and typed the address into Google Maps. What I found made my stomach twist. The house was listed for rent 2 years ago. Tenants, a man named Jason Ramirez. Her ex, the one before me, the one she swore she hadn't spoken to in years. I didn't sleep that night. I just laid there beside her in the dark, listening to her breathing, slow, steady, peaceful, like someone with nothing to hide. Meanwhile, my mind ran circles around a single question. Why Jason? Why now? The next morning, I got up early and drove to the address. Elm Street, older part of town, quiet, overgrown lawns, paint peeling on fences. I parked a few houses down and waited. At 5:25 p.m. that evening, Friday, I returned, parked in the same spot, and then I saw her, my wife, hair done, light makeup, same perfume, pulling up and walking to the door like it was the most natural thing in the world. Jason answered. He opened the door, smiled, and let her in like they'd done it 100 times. No hug, no kiss, just casual, familiar. That was worse somehow, because this wasn't passion. This wasn't some fluke or mistake. It was routine. I stayed in my car for the full hour and a half. Lights went on, shadows passed across the curtains. At 7:10 p.m., she walked out smiling, got in her car, and drove home. That night at dinner, she told me therapy was getting intense, that it was bringing up a lot of emotional history. She said it like a warning, like a preemptive excuse. And I just nodded, stared at the plate in front of me, tasted nothing. I knew then I had two options: blow up, confront her, demand the truth, or play the long game. I chose the second, because if I was right, if what I feared was true, I'd need proof. And once I had that, there'd be no coming back. I started watching her differently after that, not just where she went, but how she behaved when she was home, and more importantly, when she wasn't. She stopped leaving her phone on the kitchen counter, started charging it in the bedroom, face down, Notifications were off, and when I asked to borrow it one day, said mine was dead. She froze, only for a second, but it was enough. She gave it to me with a smile. Too quick, too easy, like a mask she'd practiced in the mirror. I didn't open anything, didn't need to. I wasn't looking for a text, I was watching her. And what I saw told me everything I needed to know. So I bought a small audio recorder, size of a pen, put it in her car under the passenger seat. Not proud of that, but at that point, pride wasn't worth much anyway. What I heard the next evening made my stomach twist. Jason's voice, software low, too familiar. Her laugh, genuine, unfiltered. They weren't just reminiscing, they were reliving. "Do you remember that night by the lake?" she said. "Of course," he replied. "That was the night I knew." Knew what? That I'd never really get over you. And she didn't correct him. She didn't even hesitate. She just said, "Yeah, me too." I sat in the garage listening to that on loop, fist clenched around the steering wheel, heart pounding, but not with anger, with clarity, because now I knew exactly what I was dealing with, and exactly what I needed to do next. I didn't confront her, not yet. Instead, I made reservations. Her favorite place. White tablecloths, candles, violins in the background. I needed to see her face. Needed to watch her try to lie to me again. She wore the blue dress I bought her last anniversary. Ironic. She smiled like nothing was wrong, asked how my day was, sipped her wine. I played along. "So," I said casually, "how's therapy been going?" She blinked, just once, but again, enough. "It's helping," she said, stirring her drink. "Dr. Klein's really pushing me to focus on communication." "Dr. Klein, huh?" I leaned back, took a sip of my whiskey. "You ever meet with him at the lake?" Her eyes flickered. The mask cracked for a fraction of a second, then reset. "Lake? Number? Why would you say that?" I shrugged. "Just curious. Seemed like a nice spot. Peaceful, private." She looked down. Suddenly the wine wasn't so interesting anymore. That's when I knew she knew. Knew I was onto her. I paid the bill, drove us home. We didn't speak much. She went to bed early. I sat in the dark living room, listening to the silence, waiting for her to come clean. She didn't. That night, after she fell asleep, I grabbed her phone. It was face down on the nightstand. Locked, of course. But she used the same passcode for everything. Her childhood dog's name and birth year. I had tried it once before out of suspicion. Didn't have the nerve to open it back then. This time I did. No texts, no recent calls, no photos. Clean. Too clean. Then I remembered. iCloud. She backed everything up. I took my own phone, logged into the cloud using her credentials. She had once typed them on our shared laptop. I had memorized them just in case. Back then, I thought it was for emergencies. I wish this wasn't one. And there it was. Screenshots of calendar invites labeled session. Photos. Ones she didn't realize were uploaded. One of her in the passenger seat of his truck. One of them eating takeout on the hood of a car by the lake. Then a video. It autoplayed. Laughter. His voice. Her voice. Kissing. A session of betrayal, caught in HD. I didn't cry. I didn't scream. I just stared. I let the silence pour over me like water. Cold. Final. The lie wasn't just in what she did. It was in how well she played the part of a healing woman. She used therapy as her alibi. She weaponized healing, and now I had proof.
The next morning, she was humming while making coffee. Humming. Like everything was fine. Like she wasn't playing house with the man she once swore was a mistake. I watched her pour my cup like she had done hundreds of times. Measured, gentle, familiar. I took it, sat across from her, looked her in the eye, and I said, "How was therapy yesterday?" She blinked, just once, paused, then smiled, a little too quick. "It was fine, just, heavy." "Yeah," I said, "healing is hard work." She nodded. "Exactly." I slid my phone across the table, unlocked, the video ready. She didn't touch it, just stared at the screen. The play button hovered between us like a loaded gun. She didn't press it. She didn't have to. I saw it in her face, collapse. "I can explain," she whispered, but I didn't want her explanation, not anymore. I stood up, left my untouched coffee on the table, and said the only thing I could manage, "I hope he's worth all this." And I walked out. I stayed at a friend's place that night. Didn't answer her texts. Didn't open the voicemail she left at 2:14 a.m. But I kept hearing her words anyway. Not the lies. Those were easy to ignore. It was the way she used to say my name. The way she cried when we bought the house. The way she looked at me when we first talked about kids. I couldn't sleep. The next day, I went back. Not to forgive her, not to talk. I needed closure. I needed my things. I needed to look one more time at the woman I thought I knew. She was on the porch when I pulled up, red-eyed, hollow. "I didn't mean to fall back into it," she said as I got out of the car. I didn't think you'd find out." I didn't respond. She reached out like she wanted to touch my arm, but stopped herself. "I thought therapy would fix me, but he made me feel like I used to before everything got so hard." That stung. I was everything that got hard. I was the life she didn't want anymore. "Then why marry me?" I asked. She didn't answer. Because there wasn't one. She didn't want me. She wanted the version of me who didn't exist, the one who never struggled, the one who always smiled. But I was real, and I wasn't going to apologize for being real. I moved out 2 days later. Didn't wait for therapy, didn't wait for apologies, just packed what was mine and left the keys on the counter. She stood by the door, crying, not trying to stop me, just crying. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "I never meant to hurt you." But she had. And sorry doesn't rewind trust. It doesn't erase the image of her and him, laughing in that dim cafe. I started over. New apartment, new job, new silence that didn't hurt so much anymore. And slowly, I remembered who I was before her. Before the lies, before the fake therapy. I wasn't broken. I was just betrayed. Months passed. I heard she went back to him, that they didn't last long. Some mutual friend said she finally started real therapy. This time, alone. As for me, I'm still healing, still rebuilding. But for the first time in a long time, I feel steady. She told me she needed therapy. She just didn't tell me it would be my heart she'd dissect in the process. But I survived. And now? Now I know the difference between someone who needs space and someone who's already made room for someone else.